Welcome back everyone to another episode of the Living Classroom Project, where we teach you how to bring the supermarket to your backyard. And today we've got a fantastic episode. I'm going to teach you how to do a little bit of pocket planting so we can plant in our worm lasagna no-dig vegetable beds. And then we're going to go to Vanessa's house and she's going to teach us how to use pumpkins to create scones and pumpkin soup. But first, let's have a look at what you, the garden ambassadors, have been doing in your garden. Here we have Ruben and Lucia. Look at them, they've made an absolutely awesome worm lasagna. There's Ruben there, he's been dunking the lucerne in the magic potion that we made. And there's Lucia spreading around all of those beautiful ground up eggshells which have calcium in them. And there's the vegetable garden right there. Double thumbs up. Well done, guys. Next up, we have Mackenzie and her sister who have made an amazing worm lasagna. They've done it in a raised bed, and they've also done one what appears to be next to their driveway. And they've even started to put some little seedlings in it. Well done, guys. Now it's time to head over to the garden and do a bit of pocket planting. Pocket planting. So we've built our no-dig worm lasagna. We've added all the layers. We've got a nice big layer of carbon sunscreen. So this is just full of life. So now it's time to plant. And we're going to be doing pocket planting. So we're going to follow Dan Dayton's step-by-step guide on how to put our little seedlings into this big worm lasagna so it doesn't get damaged. It's all nice and protected. It's got all the minerals. It's going to be great. So let's look at step number 1. We're going to open up a little bird's nest. So let's pretend that we're little birds opening up a little nest like this, and look at that. Really, really nice, soft, beautiful soil from our worm lasagna. So opening up a little pocket, pushing it aside. Now I've got some Asian cabbage. I got to think to myself, how big is this Asian cabbage going to grow? It's probably going to grow to about that size. So I want to think about the spacing for each hole. So I'm going to put it right here in the middle. Give it a bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a tap. Out it comes. Got to be so very, very gentle with our cabbages. There's a worm. Look at it. Oh. Cute boy. So I've got my little seedling out. I can just pop it to the side. Right here, I've got a bucket of compost. Just going to put a nice handful, maybe 2. Taking our little seedling, tucking it in, putting all that soil around our little plant. Now what we want to do now is just tuck it in a little bit. Tucking it in, covering that soil so it doesn't dry out, giving it a little bit of shade, and there we go. Our Asian cabbage has been pocket planted in this big worm lasagna. Now that we've got some vegetables planted, can you see I've got some pumpkin vines over there? Well, Vanessa is going to show us a beautiful recipe with some pumpkins. Take it away.
Hi garden ambassadors, welcome to my garden. Today we're going to get into the kitchen and do some really yummy recipes, but before we do, we've got to get our first ingredient. Can you guess what it is? Come and see if you can see it. Can you see what it is? That's right, it's pumpkin. This one here's not ready yet though. Kids, do you think you can find one that's ready?
Over here, I found one. This one's ready.
So we've just been out in the garden and we've got our pumpkin. Now we can do some cooking. First of all, we've got to make sure we've got all the equipment. So we're going to need some baking trays, some measuring cups and spoons, a sharp knife, large bowl, and a spoon. And maybe a chopping board as well, yeah? Yeah. The other ingredients we're going to need for our recipe, we're going to need some butter, some self-raising flour, salt and pepper, and some oil. I'm using coconut oil, you can use olive oil or nut oil, whatever you like, and some stock. Okay, so first we've got to cut up our pumpkin. You might need an adder to help you with this. Now, these bits in here are the seeds. This is where we can save these and start a whole new pumpkin patch. So get a spoon and scrape out the seeds into a bowl. Okay, so now we've got all the seeds out. We'll just put the bowl aside with the seeds and we'll finish cutting up our pumpkin. So we've cut it in half. We're going to cut those two halves in half again. And what will that give us, Arch?
Quarters.
All right. So for the scones, we're probably only need about a quarter of our pumpkin. The other 3/4 is going to go for our pumpkin soup. So let's cut up this quarter bit first. We're going to take the skin off this one. So keeping our hands away from the edge of the knife, we're going to cut the skin off. Okay, so once we've got the skin off all that, put the skin aside. This is great for compost. You can feed your worms, or your compost, or your chickens. So Archie, if you could just cut those up into small pieces, please. We're going to use tunnel grip. This keeps the fingers away from the sharp end of the knife. Some salt and pepper. Excuse me, Arch. And if you like, a little bit of paprika. Sprinkle it over and you can give it another massage. Now that's ready to go in the oven. Actually, you need to go wash your hands. And we'll get the next lot ready. So we're going to do this all at once, even though it's 2 different recipes, so that we have the oven on just one time. So time to cut up the next lot of pumpkin. This time we're going to leave the skin on for the pumpkin soup. Okay, so now that we've cut up both trays of pumpkin, one with skin on and a quarter without the skin, bit of oil, salt and pepper, they're ready to go in the oven. 30 minutes on 200 degrees should do it. Ready, Arch? See you back here in half an hour. Okay, so it's been half an hour and our pumpkin is cooked. So this is our tray of pumpkin with the skin on for the pumpkin soup. The other pumpkin is going to be cooling down for the scones, so we'll start with the pumpkin soup. Please get an adder to help because this is hot. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape all this beautiful cooked pumpkin into a food processor. And then we're going to add probably about 2 cups of stock. It can be vegetable stock, it can be chicken stock, it can be beef stock, it can be broth. It doesn't really matter. I'm actually going to just do half of that to start with and see if it's liquidy enough, and if not, we can add a little bit more liquid. So we just blended that on high in a food processor, being really careful because it is still hot. Let's see how we went. So to me, that's probably runny enough for a soup for me. You could have it runnier or you could have it thicker. So just go with a little bit of liquid first and then add a little bit more if you need it. So we'll just pop that in a bowl. You can add a little bit more salt and pepper if you like. And perhaps you might even like to have a bit of spring onion on the top. And a bit of sour cream if you like. Okay, so now that our skin pumpkin is cooled, we're going to scrape it into a small bowl and mash it up. Okay, so we've now mashed our pumpkin and we've got our other ingredients. We've got our self-raising flour, butter and salt. So actually we need 2 cups of self-raising flour, please. Okay. Then we need 50 grams of butter, so it's time to get our hands messy again. Oh, and we almost forgot the salt. About half a teaspoon of salt. Let's get those Hands in there, Arch, off you go. Just using our fingers, we don't need to use the whole of our hands, and what we're doing is we're squeezing the butter and the flour together, rubbing it together until it all gets mixed in. So now that we've got all the butter mixed in and it looks a bit like breadcrumbs, we're going to dust off our fingers and give them a wash, and then we'll add the pumpkin. We're going to add the pumpkin to our mix. I'm just going to start mixing it in. Very gently, holding the bowl. March, would you like to give it a mix? Okay, so once it's all mixed in, we can pop it out onto a board. If it's a bit sticky, we want to add a little bit more flour. If it's too dry, you can add a little bit of milk perhaps. This seems pretty good. So now, give it a little roll it into a log so we can divide it out into equal portions. We probably make about 8 scones with this one, or little mini dampers we would say. How are we going to cut this up into 8 equal pieces?
You cut it in half.
Yep.
Then you cut those 2 halves in half again, and then you cut it in half like that.
All right, let's do that. Now we're just going to roll them into 8 balls. Our pumpkin damper is cooked. I wonder who's ready to try some.
Me!
All right, who wants butter on theirs?
Me!
All right, you hold it open. You grab one, Arch. There you go.
Oh my god. Oh.
So remember the seeds that we put aside at the very beginning? Here's your challenge for this week. Go and pop those in your new garden bed or in a pot with some soil and see if you can get a pumpkin plant to come up. And then you too can be making pumpkin soup and pumpkin scones from your own garden.
Wow, that was awesome. Thanks so much, Vanessa. I didn't realize you could make so many different things with pumpkins. But Vanessa just showed us you can make scones, you can make soup. I wonder what else you could make with some pumpkins. Maybe leave in the comments section below any ideas that you guys have come up with. Okay, I can't wait to see next episode, because next week we're going to be going over to Dan Dayton's house and he's going to be showing us how to make the most amazing compost pile that you've ever seen. Okay, garden ambassadors, have a lovely week and I'll see you in the next episode!